Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by the Waddling Dog Pub, one of Victoria's historic watering holes, welcomes you to come see why they are the talk of the peninsula. Peninsula? Oh, remember I mentioned earlier Peninsula Minor Hockey?
Oh, yeah.
Jamie and Jordy Ben.
Yeah, that's right.
The Dog is the place to be for every Canucks or Whitecaps game. That minor hockey association just down the road from the Dog. Reminder, you can swing by their attached liquor store to pick up your Donnie and Dolly swag. Countless reasons to come, sit, and stay at the Waddling Dog as we bring in TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Do you know in the BCHL, Jamie Benn, I saw Jamie Benn play in the BCHL.
Wow.
Do you know who his line mate was? And he was a small forward at the time, undrafted, ended up being a signed NHL player and won a Stanley Cup. And I'm not gonna ask you to play trivia here. It was Tyler Bozak.
Oh, okay.
And Tyler Bozak was a great example. I mean, Tyler Bozak lit it up. Yeah. Tyler Bozak, went to school, got bigger, signed in Toronto, obviously, and then won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. And Jamie Benn played 1,000 games in the National Hockey League. I will ask you guys this question when we talk about draft, right? Who was the second best player in the 2007 draft after Patrick Kane? Everybody talks about best player available, right?
Well, that was the
Jamie Benn was the second best player.
Okay, David Prawn draft as well. The Canucks took Patrick White in the first round that year. Yeah. Jamie Benn was a fifth rounder, Craig.
And the second best player from that draft.
Yeah. And his Dallas team gets beat last night by the Canucks in overtime. But earlier we found out that the Canucks made another trade. Riley Stillman to Buffalo for Josh Bloom. Okay, Scouting Director, what can you tell us about Josh Bloom?
Well, Josh, it's easy, right? He's bloomed. He's blooming. Josh was a player that, was steadily improved over time. He's steadily progressed in his game. And, he can score. He's got some real good offensive abilities in and around the net. He can make plays. He can finish plays. And so you look at a player that's gone on the right path and in the right direction with respect to his development. And certainly that's where Josh finds himself. And, when you look at the Buffalo Sabres, they have a lot of forwards. And you consider, okay, what can we do to just add a little bit of depth? That's what Riley Stillman will add to their blue line. And for the Vancouver Canucks, they get a player that's on an entry-level contract and certainly somebody that's got some potential. Like, I would put Josh Bloom in that B prospect category because of his development and because of his progression. But, this is some of the things that the Vancouver Canucks want to do with respect to, getting younger and getting some more skill and talent into their group. And I think that Josh does exactly that.
Meanwhile, what are the Canucks getting? And he made his Canuck debut last night in Vitaly Kravtsov.
I come from the Vitaly Kravtsov fan club. I think Vitaly's been a player that, looked like he was certainly, I guess I would use the word tracking in the right direction. After they had drafted him 9th overall, the Rangers did. I mean, he became a player that was really, really good. He was really good at the World Junior Tournament in Vancouver. A winger that had moved over to the center, showed those capabilities, went back to the KHL, was a really strong player. I think they brought him over too early into New York. And I think that created some friction with the player and the organization. The player was trying to look out for his own development. The Rangers thought his best development was in Hartford in the American Hockey League. Vitaly didn't agree. So they had this little dance back and forth. And I never felt that Vitaly was able to build on that year after he was drafted when he was a very good player for Russia. And you start and in the KHL. And I think that he's shown some glimpses. He went back, came back over, went back, and he's shown some glimpses. when you're looking to try to take a chance on skill, and you're looking to take a chance on somebody with a high end skill level, I think that applies to Vitali. Like I see this simply as a no lose move for the Vancouver Canucks. No downside. All the upside is there, and if he doesn't reach the level that maybe we thought or I thought that he could reach, or even if he comes in like halfway to that, I think they get a player that can help them. And again, no risk, high upside.
Craig, this is Vancouver. The trade deadline is Friday. You know there's a million rumors out there. Okay, what do you see? You got Shen, Besser they're working on. Now there's Miller, Penguin. Rumors going around. Demko's name has also been popping up. Craig, take a look at some of these guys in Vancouver. What would you do? I mean, who do you see moving by the deadline?
Yeah, I'll talk about Jim Rutherford, and Jim Rutherford's comments were, trying to get the cap situation in order, trying to get younger. Yeah. We just talked about Kravtsov. We just talked about Josh Bloom. So I think the goal is still to try to get younger, add more talent, and the blue line has to be the focus. Is that all going to be accomplished by Friday? No. But it's got to be like you're on the path. You're moving along now, and that's what the goal has to be. I believe that we talked about this one day in about JT Miller. JT Miller, with his long-term contract, you're going to have to take a contract like that back, in my view, to be able to trade him. But if you're looking at Pittsburgh, I think there's a player there that might fit. That and like could be Rickard Rakell, who's got a long-term contract coming to Vancouver, and JT Miller going. That's the way I see a fit between these two teams working. You're going to have to take that type of contract, that type of term back, similar type dollars, to trade JT Miller. I don't think there's any question that there's interest in JT Miller, but to affect a trade like that, it's not just like you can get out from underneath the dollars. Now, Brock on a different level, I think Brock's played pretty well for the Vancouver Canucks. And I know we look at Brock as a goal scorer, and he's certainly shown that capability during his career. But, playing well, making plays, maybe not scoring at the same level, a shorter contract term, like if you're looking for some scoring in your lineup, and I'll tell you the team that I keep looking at that I think could benefit from Brock Besser is the Carolina Hurricanes. They lost Max Pacioretty. They have room to put him in there. He adds that size. He adds some offensive ability to their group. I mean, you might say if you're Carolina, well, we want somebody a little faster. But I think Brock would fit in a lot of ways that, could replace the loss of Max Pacioretty. So, these are real opportunities for Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin, the Vancouver Canucks, to, try to, reshape their roster. And, they still know that they have to move. They still have to improve the blue line. But, and you've heard me say this, and I won't stop. If I was a team in need of goaltending, LA Kings, I would be on the phone every day with Patrick Allvin if I was Rob Blake. I would be on the phone every day trying to find a way to get Thatcher Demko. Because I think if the LA Kings get a goaltender like Thatcher Demko, they might be the favorites in the West.
But for Demko, Craig, it's going to be a high price. The Canucks have said, essentially, it better be a grand slam or else we're not doing it.
Fair enough. And you know what, Rick? As it should be, right? Yeah. But when I look at the Vancouver, when I look at the LA Kings and I look at their prospect pool, I listen, all those players aren't going to play for them. All those prospects, they can't. There's no room at the end. So I think that the LA Kings have like a lot of prospects at different positions, including the blue line, that could potentially satisfy Vancouver's needs. But what we're seeing here around the league is the West is, to me, the West is really wide open. And so now in a year where this doesn't occur very often, I think the LA Kings, I didn't just throw that out by accident when I said if they get goaltending, if they get better goaltending, they might be the best team in the West. They might have the best chance in the West. And Thatcher Demko, to me, would do that. But, obviously Vancouver, use their term, grand slam, it depends if it's what type of package comes back, what type of players come back. Yeah. But there's certainly some interesting players in LA that they could certainly discuss to try to do exactly that.
And quickly, Craig, the Hurricanes did pick up a forward today, and Jesse Puljujarvi from Edmonton. What can he do in Carolina that maybe he didn't do in Northern Alberta?
Well, I mean, I can only tell you this. The talent level that he's going to play with in Carolina is far less than the talent level he played with in 97 and 29. You know, this idea that Jesse Puljujarvi is going to find some kind of scoring ability and some kind of offensive prowess being outside of Edmonton, to me, is ridiculous. He played with McDavid and Draisaitl for large portions and couldn't do it. So now you're going to put him with lesser talent, and let's put it this way: just about everybody in the league is lesser talent than McDavid and Draisaitl, right? So bottom line is, good for Jesse Puljujarvi. He gets a fresh start. Nothing's changing for Jesse Puljujarvi. He's a big body that works his butt off, competes and everything. Not going to add you much offense.
We know how busy you are right now, Craig, with the trade deadline on Friday. We all are, and we thank you so much for doing this. We'll talk to you next week.
We will. Yeah, always my pleasure. Have a good week and follow those rumors.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. Oh, yeah. The guy next to me will. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. Craig Button, TSN Scouting Director.